have a big crowd today. My name is Haley Wilcox. I'm the president of Women and the Women in STEM Club at MSJC. So if you're interested in joining, I'll put my email in the chat. But yeah, Mahak.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mahak Tiwari, and I'm the president for the Hope and STEM Club and Honor Society. If you would like to learn more about us or you're interested in joining, I will also put my email in the chat again. Thank you for coming. I will pass it over to Esmeralda Trejo, who is the Future Physicians Leader and Health Coach Program Coordinator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for MSJC for hosting this and having us again. My name is Esmeralda Trejo. I'm the Assistant Director of Pipeline Programs, but also the coordinator for the Future Physician Leaders Program. So I work at the UCR School of Medicine Pipeline Programs, and under the pipeline programs, we have about 10 programs. So I'll be showing you in the slides a little bit. My colleague Jackie is out today. She decided to take the day. It was her anniversary, so I was like, sure, why not? I'll let you go. So I'm hoping she's enjoying her time, but I will do my best to do her part, which is a health coach program. I do have a few students today from FPL and health coach that will be sharing their experience in a little bit as well. Well, thank you.
Just some props to some props to Jackie today. It's her anniversary. Congratulations to her.
Thank you. Yes. So she's she wanted to come and ask me if I could take over, and I said definitely. I'll definitely take over. It's okay. Hopefully I do justice for the health coach program, because she does do a wonderful job. But I do have 2 health coaches, so I think Wajika is in the call, so I know she's seen this presentation, so feel free to jump in when we get to that part. All right, so what exactly are we going to go over today? So we really want you to understand a little bit about UCR, School of Medicine, our mission and our values, because those are really true and dear to our programs and how we, Jackie and I, do our outreaching. Students are going to be able to recall our medical school application process, so I'm going to go over a little bit about that. Feel free to drop in the chat, because I know there's a lot of you in the call. Let me know, what is your ultimate goal. So if you want to become a physician, or you can also be some other type of healthcare career. So you don't have to be a physician to be part of our pipeline programs. And of course, the meat of the presentation today is going to be about our pipeline program, specifically Future Physician Leaders and Health Coach program, and how you can be involved as a community college student. So I wanted to first start off with the mission. So by any, feel free to drop it in the chat or mute yourself. Anybody know when the School of Medicine actually opened? You can send it to everybody or privately to me. Just take a guess. Don't be shy.
2014.
Ooh, 2014 is very, very, very close. 1939. So 2013 actually is when we opened up officially. So we are still fairly new. We actually started back in the late 70s, early 80s with a partnership with UCLA School of Medicine. And what we were doing essentially is at UC Riverside, we would have 24 students that would complete a biomedical science degree for their first 2 years at UC Riverside, and then their last 2 years, they would actually complete it at UCLA. So it was like a joint program. We definitely, had a lot of strong candidates, because to be part of that program, you had to finish a certain GPA and certain requirements and all that, and they did an awesome job. But as we were producing a lot of medical students, we noticed that a lot of them were going to these areas such as Los Angeles and Orange County, and we started noticing a decrease over here in the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino County. So we definitely said, hey, we need to open up a medical school. So that's kind of how the conversation started. And now we started here at, with School of Medicine. And actually UCR was the first medical school to open up in 40 years on the West Coast. So we have now had a little bit few more medical schools open up in this area, which is needed. We need more physicians. We need more people like us to be in the workforce. So our goal essentially is to really train a diverse workforce of physicians. So we only offer medical degrees at UCR School of Medicine. And we want to improve the health of the regionally or medically underserved here in this region. So feel free, like I mentioned, if you want to drop in the chat, how many of you, what is your ultimate goal? If you don't want to become a doctor, that's okay. But if you want to go into nursing or PA, anything like that, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we welcome all of you. So a little bit the medical school application process. So because we are a medical school, I did kind of want to review this a little bit. That way you're familiar, but don't feel like to be part of our pipeline programs, and you have to be a physician. So I see right here a lot of nursing. That's awesome. Awesome. MD, PhD. That's great. We do have those program too. It's fairly small. Anesthesiologist for a nurse. Awesome. So we definitely want to see people who, come from our area, and we definitely need nurses. Yes, that is a big need. And especially now with the pandemic, we need a lot of healthcare providers, right? And we definitely want to prepare you for that. So for the medical school application process, on the left-hand side, you're going to see the required courses that UCR looks at. So these courses you probably already heard, you are actually probably already taking right now. So if you are probably, a lot of majors that we get are biology majors, but one good thing is you do not have to be a bio major to go to med school. You can be any major you want. We welcome anybody from, anthropology, sociology, even art. We just want you to complete these courses. So when you're applying to medical school, we're going to look at your class requirements. These classes specifically, so it's called your BCPM, biology, chem, math, and physics. So we want to see those classes and what GPA you got when we evaluate your application. We also have here some recommended courses. So these courses are not required, but they are highly recommended because you do have to take an exam called the MCAT in order to get into medical school. So you'll need to learn some, English comprehension. You're going to be reading a lot of passages, a lot of writing, critical thinking skills, humanities and social sciences. So this could be psychology, sociology. So there's some questions about that in the MCAT. And then specifically Spanish is more for UCR. The reason why is because a lot of people here in the area, if you've grown up here, speak Spanish. So we do like to see if maybe you have some kind of Spanish speaking, or either native Spanish speaker, or you've taken some classes at a four-year university. If you've never taken a Spanish class, that's okay too. It's recommended, not required. Not all our medical students speak Spanish, but they will learn sometimes some medical terminology in Spanish so they can best communicate with their patients if they decide, hopefully we'll stay here in the IE. So again, this is just recommended. So if you are interested in going into medical, MD degree or a DO or a medical school in general, if you're taking these classes like physics, math, chem, at a community college, we will be looking at those courses. So those are some questions we've had too, is do we look at your community college classes or just your four-year university? We do look at both. So just be cognizant about that when you're going through your education. Now, another question we get is, what if I did horribly my first year in community college and I don't want them to see those grades? We will still see those grades, but we want to see an improvement. So as long as you've improved and you're taking higher level courses and you're doing better, we definitely look at that. But we don't want you to, do the opposite, right? And not change your study habits or whatever it may be, right? So just make aware of that. So we do understand the first year of college anywhere, community college or a four-year, can be difficult. So on top of just grades, we also like to see what else do you contribute as a person. You are an individual, and we want to see what you will bring to UCR School of Medicine. So we really want you to get involved. So that's why, especially here, if you have not gone involved yet in your STEM class, and we have various clubs here on campus, do so. I highly suggest you get involved, because that's how you'll network and meet other individuals and folks and learn about these different opportunities. So one of the things that we really value at UCR is community service. So we want you to really get involved in various ways. So if you are doing maybe a cleanup, or you're doing or you volunteer at a hospice, or if you volunteer at a clinic, or even if you volunteer as a tutor K to 12 students, mentor K to 12 students. It's a variety of ways. So any community service opportunity that you have that you're giving back to others, we want you to write that on your application. We really value clinical experience. So this is something that is particularly for our school. We know a lot of other medical schools like to see shadowing experience, but we actually prefer to see clinical. So you having a patient interaction. So we're actually going to talk about health coach where you will get that experience. We also like to see leadership. So leadership comes into various ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a VP or secretary of a club. It can also be about, if you're going to be a project leader, for example, or if you are managing a community service project on your own, but you're the leader of the project, that is leadership. So what exactly does leadership look to you? And it can also be a part of an employment leadership. Professional development, if you're going to conferences or you're doing research or you're doing poster presentations, anything like that, attending a conference, how are you developing as a future professional? Because once you go to medical school, you have to keep continuing going to conferences, learning about the newest research, what's going on, especially like right now in the pandemic, learning about all these viruses, how are we as future professionals going to address these issues and help our community. And employment, of course, a lot of us, we might have 2 or 3 jobs while we're going to college. We want to hear about those jobs, and it doesn't have to be medically related. If you are supporting yourself to go to school, tell us about it. Tell us about your experience and what have you learned as a whole, as a person, and as you're going through your medical education journey. So hopefully this makes sense. And feel free to drop in the chat some questions. I'll try to keep up with the chat. So when we started the medical school, we said, hey, we need to prepare our own students here that are from our community. So we need to create something called pipeline programs. So these are programs that we will help you at each step in the way in your educational journey, and you can join in various ways. So it might have seemed a little daunting because it's a lot of programs, but I'm really only going to focus on future physician leaders today. And then our health coach program, which is over here. So we have FPL, which I'll talk in a little bit, and is open to current community college students. So you right now, regardless of what stage you are, you can definitely, be part of it. Health coach program is more for students who are going to be transferring. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But you do not have to come to UCR for either program. Okay, so just make sure that if you're interested, take note about that. But if you do come to UC Riverside, if anybody is transferring, feel free to let me know down in the chat if you're coming to UCR. Would love to have you there. We have other programs that you can be part of if you are a UCR student. All right, so moving on, first one is FPL. So our Future Physician Leaders Program was started back in 2009 by Dr. RUHS, who is now a congressman in the Coachella Valley area. So he grew up as a first-generation college student in the low-income community, and he wanted to become a physician. And so he, raised money, scholarship money to go and pursue his education. And he said he would come back to Coachella Valley to give back to his community that helped him fund his education. So he did that. And when he came back, he realized we need a lot more physicians from our area to come and stay in the area. So he actually started mentoring 10 high school students at that time in 2009. And we've now grown to 150 each summer that we work with. And we've expanded now to another site. So once our medical school opened back in 2013, he kind of joined our faculty and brought his program, and then he became congressman. So now he's really busy out in DC. So we have continued our program, really continues still his mission and really helping our future healthcare providers. So when he started the program, it was very focused on physician, but now we have definitely evolved to opening it up to pre-health students, because essentially we need various healthcare providers in the IE. So it's a 9-week summer program for pre-health students. Like I mentioned, you don't even, we've had nursing students. I know there's a lot of nursing here, which is great, who want to give back to the community and do a mission of service. So what it is from June 14th to August 12th. So if you are planning to do summer school or work, just kind of make sure you have those dates in mind. And in our website, we have the program dates, meeting time. So I'll go over that in a little bit. If you're accepted into the program, we have an orientation on May 18th. So just make sure that you can attend that orientation, because you'll meet your group members and you'll understand the expectations of you that is required this summer. And then you will present your research on August 10th through 12th in the evening and to culminate the program. There are 2 sites. So when you're applying, just make sure you pick the one that's closest to you. At this time, we will be having the program completely online. So it really doesn't matter which one you want to do, but the Riverside San Bernardino does get very competitive. So you're more than welcome to apply to Coachella. I know since you're in MSJC, it's kind of a little bit in both. So feel free to choose whichever one you prefer. It is completely online. You don't have to drive there. So you do have to have reliable internet access and access to a computer, of course, like right now. So it's all through Zoom. We do like students who have ties to the IE. So if you are from Riverside or San Bernardino County, you grew up here or you attend school here, you are more than welcome to apply. And you have to be a minimum of a junior in high school and up to a recent college graduate. So this is somebody who has not attained a master's degree or a professional degree that can apply. So feel free to share this information to other folks. They don't have to be at UC Riverside, and we're definitely open to community college students. So what exactly will you be doing this summer? So all of the students participate in a community health project. So you'll place into groups and do an health education project. You participate in a leadership lecture series. So you'll meet different healthcare professionals in their fields. We'll share their experience with you. You do a program symposium where you'll actually present your health community health project to UCR staff and faculty, but also community and organizations that you've worked with. And then if you are interested in medical school, specifically medical school, you can apply for the mentorship program. This is new, where you'll actually be paired with a UCR medical student. So this is optional, and it's only for those who are really want to go into medical school, and there's additional requirements that I'll go over. So the meat of the program is really the community health project. So you're going to be placed in teams of 5 to 7 individuals from different backgrounds. So we do want to diversify the group. So you'll not just be with only San Jacinto students, you'll be with others. And you're going to come up with a health topic that you really are passionate about. So I included some topics here, but I don't want you to be limited to those. Really think outside of the box. What is it that you want to educate your community about, that Riverside or San Bernardino County needs to know a little bit more about? So you're going to do some research with your group members. You're going to find local resources to connect them. You're going to create an online presentation using PowerPoint, a flyer, and then a website. So if you've never created any of these things, we do help you each step of the way. We've had former participants last summer that did this, and they will be helping you this summer as well. So you won't be alone. There is a lot of work to be done. So that's why we say the commitment is about 15 to 20 hours a week. So it is like a class, but just be aware of that when you're applying. If you are thinking about taking 2 classes over the summer and working, this might be too much, but we definitely want you to keep us in mind, hopefully, if you can make it work this summer or another summer. We do ask you to present your research. So you're going to be partnering with different organizations or different venues where you can present. So it's all going to be on through Zoom. And you're going to collect data. So you want to analyze how effective your presentation is educating the community. So Jackie is actually our community health instructor, and she helps you every step of the way on how to analyze your data, how to create graphs, how to do it into a presentation, a poster, in a written format. So there's various skills that you're going to learn. If you've never done this before, you don't have to have taken stats. She'll definitely help you kind of analyze your data, and especially it's a good intro into public health research. So I provided here an examples from last summer of students that did an awesome job. They created their brochure, they created a website. Some of them actually went above and beyond and wanted to do more, and actually created an Instagram or a TikTok, and to really share their experience. So it's really up to you and how much you dedicate to the program that you'll get most out of it. So on top of that, so you have 1 week where you'll do, or 1 day out of the week where you'll do the community health project. Another day of the week, you'll do the lecture series. So you're going to have different guest speakers that will talk about their educational journey and give you some guidance and some help. So for example, we do have medical students, but we've also had physician assistants, we've had nurse practitioners, we've had researchers, public health researchers as well as practitioners, anybody in healthcare really, and we try to change the speakers each summer. So this program, you can definitely do multiple summers if you're interested, and you would just be doing a different project each time. We also want you to, get the research experience, but also how to present in a formal setting. So you do create a poster, everybody does a poster, and then if your project group members did an awesome job, they'll be invited to present at the symposium, which is the one from August 10th through 12th. And you'll do an oral presentation. And if your group members did an amazing job, went above and beyond, they'll be selected to present at the UCR School of Medicine conference that is held by medical students. They actually do a similar health project for 4 years to graduate medical school. So you're already kind of getting a hands-on tidbit of what what you can do if you decide to go to UCR School of Medicine. So if you're interested in medicine, you definitely want to look into the mentoring. So the mentoring is started last summer because of COVID. We used to offer shadowing a physician, but we had to cancel that. And we really wanted to replace it in something meaningful for our students. So we did the mentorship program where we actually had UCR medical students dedicate once a week to meet with their mentee and do various activities. Because it was highly evaluated and rated that the students really, both the mentee and the mentor really enjoyed it, we decided to incorporate it now as part of our program. So if you are interested in medical school, you do have to be at least 18 years old, and preference is given those going into their 3rd or 4th year. So if you're a current 2nd year student, I encourage you to apply. You do have to submit a letter of recommendation. Now this letter can be from an advisor, a community member, an employer, anybody that can talk about your character and why they think you deserve to have a mentor. Please no family, friends, or peers to submit the letter, and there is a separate link where they do have to submit it. Your resume and an unofficial transcript will be uploaded into the online application when you submit for the FPL program. So everybody does have to do an online application, but if you're interested in mentorship, you have to submit those additional requirements. So on top of when I said the 15 to 20 hours a week, that is just a regular FPL program. If you are selected for mentorship, just make sure your schedule is a lot more flexible, because we do have some medical students who are going into clinical rotations over the summer, and their schedule is really all over the place. So we want to make sure that you are flexible to them and meeting them, and that way you can complete the activities. So this is an additional 1 to 2 hour requirement, and you would have to submit additional written work. So just be cognizant of that when you're submitting the application, if you are accepted into the program for mentorship. So the application and commitments. So you do have mandatory lectures. So Mondays and Wednesdays are for the Coachella Valley site from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Riverside San Bernardino site from 6 to 8 p.m. So you have to make those mandatory meetings. Outside of that is when you'll meet with your group and work on the material. So that's on your own time. And then everybody does participate in the program symposium from August 10th through 12th. So you do have to submit an online application. It's now available on our website. And you're going to complete 5 short essays. And then if you are interested in doing the mentorship, you'll submit those additional requirements. But if you're not interested in mentorship, it's just the online application, and you don't have to submit letters of recommendation or resume or transcript. So you just have to submit the application online. So what are the benefits? You're going to really learn about health disparities, social determinants of health, what is affecting the residents of San Bernardino and Riverside County, other than just an illness, but outside factors. Public health research, you're going to figure out how to communicate with community members, how to develop a presentation, and how to put it into layman's terms. That way they understand you and they're able to learn from your presentation. But you also get to learn about public speaking if this is something that you aren't strong enough or you feel nervous about. Or even if you're just learning about healthcare, but you're not quite sure what you want to do, it's definitely a great explorer one. If you want to increase your communication with team members, groups, this is a group project. So we do want you to be accountable, be held accountable with you and your teammates, that you all work together. And marketing. We've been online for a year now. And so I'm sure you've known social media and marketing has been very huge. So we want to give you those skills. That way you can put it in your resume and you can translate those to a future employment opportunity. And networking. Our guest speakers love to talk about their own research or volunteer opportunities that they love to share to our FPL participants. So here are the dates again, just as a summary. The application is available. And if you're interested in applying for mentorship, please apply by April 7th. That is a priority deadline. That is also the deadline if you are interested in the Riverside Summer Dean. Like I said, it's very competitive. So apply early, even if you're not interested in mentorship, but the final deadline for all sites is April 28th. You will get acceptance notifications around the first week of May, and the May 18th program orientation you are required to attend if you are accepted. The application can be found on our website on fpl.ucr.edu. And if you have an Instagram, feel free to follow us. We post a lot of great content on there, just different resources and opportunities that you can take advantage of as a student. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, I believe, if you're here, to share her experience.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, introduce yourself, and you can talk a little about your
Hey
experience.
everyone. I'm Kelly Chen, and I'm a third year biochemistry major at UCR, and I was a FPL participant this past summer. For my community health project, my group and I decided to spread awareness on strokes. And although strokes is a very common word a familiar word to many people, we felt that little is known amongst the general population. So we found that not many people knew that there were multiple types of strokes and how to prevent or identify a stroke. So we decided to educate and prepare our community on how to prevent a stroke, what it is, and the next steps you should take if you find someone who is experiencing a stroke. The website we made included many resources to further the knowledge of our community on strokes, and then also included resources on places they can reach out to if they or someone they know had a stroke. But all this definitely took a lot of time because we wanted to create quality resources for our community. So we dedicated a lot of time to making our presentations and giving presentations, and as well as making that website and running different social media outlets to reach out more to the community. This was definitely something that if you put more effort and time into it, you'll just have a better project and a better time. I was also a part of the mentorship program, and I think it was definitely helpful to have a mentor who was a medical school student because they were able to provide insight on what medical school looked like, the process of getting in, how rigorous the material is, and they were also able to provide lots of advice for where I am in my journey as well.
Thank you, Kelly. And then I have Jacqueline. Do you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your experience?
Hi, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Villa. I'm a second year biomajor student here at College of the Desert. And I first participated in FPL last summer with the Coachella Valley location. For our CHP, my group and I chose the topic of birth control, where our main goal was to educate young adult women about their options and local resources. And we actually got chosen to present at the UCR School of Medicine conference in the end. So that was nice. Since everything was online, our main method of outreach was promotion via Instagram, which was pretty effective since almost everyone is on there. But at the time, I was taking summer classes and was also in the middle of moving, so I was definitely very busy. But I'd say I kept up pretty well. Just keep in mind that the program will require a good amount of your time, so plan accordingly. And if anything, communicating with your group is very important and will make things flow easier. So the more you communicate, cooperate, and just put in genuine effort throughout this experience, the more you'll get out of it for sure. So I'm honestly so glad that I took part in this experience because it really fulfilled that desire to help others around me. So I would definitely suggest that you apply and hopefully have a great experience as well. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Jacqueline. All right. Now we're going to move over to Health Coach program. We'll save some time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat, but we'll save some time at the end to open it up to Q&A. All right, so we have two health coaches here that will help me as well at the end, share their experience. I know Wajiha has been presenting with us, so feel free to jump in, Wajiha, anytime if you want me to add anywhere, so I know she's seen this presentation multiple times. So for the health coach program, our usual coordinator is Jacqueline Loya, who will be helping you throughout. But basically what it is, it's a partnership between Riverside University Health Systems and UCR School of Medicine. So this program actually opened up back in 2013. And if you remember, that's when our medical school opened. And we started with Dr. Jeffrey Liang, which you see him here in the picture, and Dr. Neil Schiller. So at the time, Dr. Schiller was our Senior Associate Dean at the Student Affairs Office, and he started our pipeline programs like the image I showed to you and all those programs that we had. And Dr. Liang came to Dr. Schiller after hearing about this health coach model at a conference. And, he was talking about how we don't have anything that provides our students with that patient and clinical skills interaction that we really value at UCR School of Medicine when we're looking at our applicants. So he told Dr. Schiller if there's a way to include a health coach program with partnering with RUHS and give our students the opportunity to gain the clinical skills they need and be successful in their application. So Dr. Schiller was very supportive and he said, yes, let's start it. So because of these two individuals, we were able to open up this program back in 2013 and we definitely have grown. Yes, Dr. Schiller is awesome and he's retired somewhat. So he's still helping us, but you know how retirement goes in academia, you're sometimes still on recall. So he's been an awesome individual. I've had a pleasure of working with him as well. So exactly what happens is the first, you will be working with RUHS. So that's the first bullet point there is they'll train you on, working through with patients and going through different skills and making sure that they're meeting their life, changing their lifestyle and meeting their lifestyle goals, whatever those goals may be. And then on the second hand, on the UCR side, school of medicine side, Jackie will really help you in your professional development and preparing you to apply to graduate school, professional school, whatever it may be. So again, for both of these programs, you don't have to be a physician. If a majority are interested in going to medical school, but we're just interested in healthcare. So FPL is definitely a summer program and health coach is an academic year program. So you can definitely apply to both of those. So who is this program intended for? So we really ask for students to be going into their third or fourth year. So like I mentioned, if you are going to transfer this fall, now you don't have to transfer to UC Riverside. You could transfer to Cal State San Bernardino, CBU, wherever it is that you're transferring to, it doesn't matter, but we just want you to have third year standing. So if you are a student who maybe doesn't meet that requirement, but you're a little bit older or have a few questions, feel free to reach out to Jackie to see if you're still eligible to apply. Sometimes she has made exceptions. So again, you are going to be a pre-health student. So we're just interested in, you wanting to get more patient care interaction. This is an academic year program. So be sure that you have time between September 1st to June 30th of the next year. The program orientation, there's going to be an orientation around the last week of May to go over training and go over, other necessary documents, meeting other health coaches, the staff at RUHS and our UCR staff. And then onboarding will take during the summer. It's not too much onboarding. I'm sure the health coaches will talk a little bit about it. It's definitely doable if you're doing other opportunities as well. Just be available during that time. But your main training will start around September 1st. So we have about 30 to 35 health coaches that help each year. It really just varies between how many coaches are returning or leaving during the academic year, because after they finish their commitment, they can either choose to leave or continue with health coach. So that depends how many availabilities we have. We have a total of 15 clinics in Riverside County. So just be familiar. I think there is like a HEMIC clinic. So if you are interested, if you live around the MSJC area, there is a clinic there that we're looking for a need. They serve about a little over 1,000 patients each year, all those health coaches collectively, which is awesome. And they actually do about a little over 6,000 hours. So I'll go over time commitment next slide. But it is a good chunk of time if you want to get that patient interaction. But I know the coaches will share a little bit about that. So because of COVID, there's been questions about, how do you get the patient interaction right now? So we have adapted to a hybrid model. So a lot of our coaches are doing more of online telehealth. But looking into next year, seeing how things progress. They're still looking at doing a hybrid, so you might be asked to go into the clinic, or you might be asked to continue online. So it really just depends, but just being flexible and being aware of that. If you are asked into the clinic and you don't feel comfortable, just being mindful of that. If you want to apply this year, maybe wait until the situation gets a little bit better. So just things to consider, but I'm sure that the coaches will share a little bit about how they're managing their patient interaction. So the time commitment, it does require you to have at least 8 hours a week that you will be going into clinic, either in person or online. You are required to do 260 hours minimum during that academic year. So that translates to about 8 hours a week. So out of those hours, we want you to use 40 of those for outreach opportunities. So like the health coaches today are going to share a little bit about their experience. So this is considered an outreach event. So they'll be able to use some of those hours for that. So just be aware of that. So if you're looking at this is a volunteer opportunity. So if you're doing full-time work, we've had health coaches who actually do work full-time at another job, and they're able to work it out with their supervisor, but everyone's situation is different. So if time commitment is something that you want to discuss a little bit more about, feel free to reach out to Jackie. But for the most part, a lot of people do break up their time between 4-hour blocks. So they do maybe Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 to 12. Some do it all day. So it really is just up to you and how you want to split up your time. So what are the expectations that we see? So we look at professionalism. So again, you're going to be asked, you're going to be treated like a professional. So you're going to be an employee per se at RUHS. You're not going to get paid for these volunteer hours, but you will be going through the background checks. You will be going through extensive training that all employees want to have to conduct, and you're going to be working with patients. So you want to make sure that you have the utmost professional manner. So this is like a job, and we want you to treat it like that. So making sure you have good time management skills, make sure that you arrive on time to clinic, and go through different protocols and procedures. So when you work in a healthcare system, it's very different than working in, like if you have a job on campus at MSJC. So just really making sure that you understand those things, and we'll train you about them. But as long as you're a professional candidate and your interview and things like that, we definitely do like to look at those types of skills. We also like to see teamwork. So, you know, how do you work together in groups? We will ask you about that in the essays. You know, have you worked with other individuals in different health systems or different settings? Because you're going to be working with a healthcare team. So as a health coach, you're not diagnosing anybody. You're going to be working with doctors, physicians, nurses, dietitians. So they will kind of give you a caseload of maybe this would be a patient that will work best for us to have a health coach. You have to make sure that you're able to communicate with the physicians and the nurses if anything were to arise with the patient. So you are definitely like a liaison and an advocate for the patient, and working together with the team to making sure that this patient is getting the necessary resources in order to make sure that they are meeting their lifestyle goals. Then the third one is communication. Like I mentioned, communication is key in any job field that you go into. So you're going to actually be using a skill or learning how to use motivational interviewing. So they will teach you on how to work with patients on not telling them what to do, but try to have them come up to the conclusion of what maybe are some skills, some changes they need to make in their lifestyle to make these small goals into a larger picture, right? So it's definitely a skill that not everybody has, and we're moving towards in healthcare doing more motivational interviewing, and you're probably going to be meeting doctors that maybe don't have this skill yet. So you're already at the forefront of starting to develop these skills that you can use when you're going to apply for jobs in nursing or in, PA or medical doctor in your interviews, and going with your patients is already saying, hey, I have done this motivational interviewing skill, and helps, patients to go through their own self-management goals. You want to make sure that you communicate with the staff too, if anything were to arise and your schedule changes. So we understand that a lot of our students a lot of our health coaches are students. So we know that your priority is school, but we also want you to communicate with us if any changes arise and you need to change your schedule. So you do usually have time to do at least a month in advance to submit a schedule. So just being proactive of that. If you have finals, midterms coming out, you might have to change your clinic hours, but just talking about it and having others understand is better than just not showing up to clinic, right? It is like a job, so we want to make sure that you're communicating constantly with the clinic science leads. Some benefits that you'll get from it. So on the UCR side with Jackie, we definitely do have professional development workshops that we've been doing this academic year with all our pipeline students. So if you do FPL or health coach, you'll be invited to those opportunities. We have different networking events. I know Jackie has done really a great job of meeting with the medical students and other healthcare professionals strictly for the health coaches. And she does a lot of one-on-one professional check-ins with you. So these are like checking in with your wellness. We do really want to make sure, especially right now during the pandemic, is taking care of yourself. At the end of the day, we don't want you to get burnt out or stressed, because there is a high burnout rate of physicians, not doing well mentally and physically. And we don't want that to happen to you. So we want you to take care of yourself right now and develop those skills. That way, when you go into a professional world, you have those skills already, and you can implement them as you are going in your professional career. We do, like I mentioned, motivational interviewing is a skill that not many healthcare providers have, and we definitely give you that skill and give you the resources on how to develop it. And also goal setting. So you're going to be working with different patients, again, working one-on-one with them. So it's a great way to really develop that and really know if this is kind of the field that you want to be in. You're going to learn how to use electronic health record system documentation. So EPIC, this is what they use at the hospital at RUHS, but they also use at Loma Linda, at Kaiser. So if you're interested in, since a lot of you have mentioned that you're interested in going into becoming nurses, this is a great way to learn this system. That way, when you go to apply to these jobs, you already have a leg up, that you know how to work this electronic health system. And every system is different, but this is kind of a major one that they use. And then RUHS is actually doing a whole person healthcare assessment. So they're looking at what other factors, not just illness, is affecting our patients, and how can we as future providers, or you as the health coach, help them know about these factors, and how can I alleviate them, or give you some resources on where to get some more help or guidance. So this is definitely with the other care team. So you want to talk to dietitians and your nurses and the physician. So this is not just you're not diagnosing anybody, but you're working together to assessing the whole health of the person and not just an illness. So who can apply? Like I mentioned, we want students who are going into their junior year. So if you're going to be a transfer student, please apply. We do also have students who have already graduated. So if you're in college and you already graduated, some of them are taking a gap year, they also are in the program. We really want students who have strong ties to the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino County. You want to have transportation to the clinic, so just making sure you're able to do that. That you want to work with underserved communities. So again, you're going to do a lot of patient interaction with the Inland Empire, especially in Riverside County. We do encourage those who maybe have an educational or socioeconomical disadvantage. So if you're maybe a first generation college student, if you were, if you grew up low income and need some more financial assistance, that's perfectly fine. Let us know about your story. Tell us a little about you and why you want to become a future healthcare provider. And you want to have an interest in healthcare, but in any majors. You don't have to be a science major to provide a health coach. So you can be any major that you want and just have an interest in healthcare. So what exactly will you submit? There is an online application that is available on the website, hcp.ucr.edu. You submit a letter of recommendation similar to FPL. It could be an advisor, a faculty member, a community member, a community service manager that you've been working with, an employer, just no family members or peers, your resume, and an official transcript. So the minimum GPA is a 3.0 in your bio, chem, physics, and math. So remember the DCPM GPA. If you are a little bit below 3.0, feel free to still apply. They have made exceptions in the past. Just make sure that you in your essays, you kind of explain a little bit of what happened and maybe what are you doing to improve it. So here again is the summary of the deadlines. The application is available on our website. The priority application is coming up on March 17th. So please make sure if you're interested, reach out to your recommender now to get your letter of recommendation submitted. There is a final application deadline by April 28th. So if you're really interested in FPL, Jackie reviews the application submitted by the March 17th deadline and give those priority. And then we look into those after that deadline, and as long as you submit everything by April 28th. So that's the final deadline, and that includes your letter of recommendation. You will be doing some interviews if you're invited. So interviews are multiple mini interviews. So that is a little bit different if you've never been in one. I'm actually having a session in a few weeks on multiple mini interviews. I'll share again with all of you. Definitely come to that. It is a little bit different. This is how med schools use to interview candidates, and this is how she'll use for the health coaches. And then the program orientation will be the week of May 24th. So if you have any questions, feel free to take down Jackie's email. The application can be found on the website as well. So at this time, I'm going to ask the health coaches to share their experience, and then we'll open up to Q&A. So Bushika, do you want to share first?
Hello, everyone. My name is Washiha. I am one of the health coaches that's in this current cohort. A little bit about me is I just graduated recently with my BS in neuroscience from UCR, and I chose to do the health coach program after I heard about it through FPL actually. And I liked the component of health coach, which focused on patient-centered care and really working with the patients to help them reach their health goals. And so because that was something that I wanted to work on, I applied and was accepted. I did experience health coaching during our hybrid model, like Esmeralda mentioned. So part of my patients that we saw as a health coach, I saw half of them in clinic, and then we transitioned over to the telephone, telehealth type process after COVID took effect. But something that I did like about the program was, like it was mentioned before, the motivational interviewing skills. So this skill set I found very helpful, not only as a health coach, but also in my personal life when I'm communicating with my friends or communicating with colleagues and peers. I found that it's a very effective way to be an active listener, and also really hear and kind of help the patients reach their own goals without being that, telling them what to do, just as you would expect a physician to do. One thing about the health coach program is that you will be working with a network of people, right? So, you notice very quickly that the patient's wellness is taken into effect with collaboration with the dietitian, the physician itself, the PA, nurse practitioner. So there's a big group of individuals that make sure that the patient sees to manage their goals. And I thought that was quite interesting because it gave me a bit of perspective. And for those of you that are interested in, I don't know, nursing or PA school, that's definitely a great way to network and make those connections. Currently, I am assigned in the Moreno Valley Community Health Clinic. So this site is fairly newer, and I was originally in the main hospital at RUHS, but because due to COVID, that site was converted to vaccinations and mostly telehealth, I'm able to now go in clinic. So I'm able to go into Moreno Valley Clinic. So something that I've noticed or been experiencing is how to be flexible with some changes and adapting to those changes with COVID. So I'm not sure if that will be the same this coming year, but that is definitely something to be aware of. And one of the things about health coaching is you really do get to build that rapport with your patients. So, and I say my patients because these are one of the few unique programs where you get your patients. You have a patient list, you meet with them on a weekly, monthly basis, however it may be, and you work on them to reach their goals. So, for example, some patients that I've worked with, maybe they're trying to manage how well they're eating. So they want to, let's say, lower their A1C levels, which is for patients that have really high A1C levels, they want to lower them. So we talk to them about some things that they can change. Maybe it could be a little bit more exercise. Maybe it can be changing in their diet, eating out less. And you can see how those little small changes can make such big effects in their overall health of the individual. So so one thing that the reason I bring that up is because I know a lot of applications or whatever school you want to go to is going to ask you, well, why do you want to go into medicine? Well, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to advocate for my patient, and that's something I want to do in med school, hopefully. So I found this way as a great way to advocate for that patient and learn how to make those connections with the patient so that I can, maybe speak with the physician and, work out a plan that the patients are able to follow. So oftentimes the patient will be more comfortable talking to health coaches than they will to be talking to their physician or their nurse, because they feel more comfortable after you build that rapport and that relationship with them. I know we touched a little bit about time management skills. So it's something definitely worth noting. So because unlike FPL, this is during the school year, you do want to, if you're taking classes or if you're working, you do want to be cognizant of the hours that this program requires. So for example, personally, I'm a scribe, so I also work part-time and I'm a full-time student, but I'm able to manage my time because I can do later hours due to my work or work on the weekends, whereas most clinics are usually Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So if that's something that's your work schedule, you might have to be flexible with that. But of course, it's dependent on every individual's time management skills and how well they're able to do that. So any last advice that I would like to give to anyone who's applying is really when you're applying and you're filling out that form and application, make sure you're able to showcase why you want to do the health coach program and how it's going to help you reach your career goals. Because I think that's the really important thing about the essay portion. And I think it's important to have someone look over it at least, or at least, make sure what you're trying to say is being said on that paper and don't just, treat it lightly. But of course, I wish best of luck to all of you who are applying. And if you all have any questions for me, Esmeralda has my contact information, but good luck to everyone.
Thank you. And we also have Claudia. You want to share a little bit? Thanks, Claudia.
Hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Claudia Osuna. So something about me, I am an undergrad student at Cal State San Bernardino. This is my last semester there, and my major is biology. I've been working at the health coaching at the Indio Clinic. It is a little far from where I live. However, I don't regret having to take the long drive over there because I do realize the impact that we have on the patients. Health coaching, because of COVID, like what Jiha mentioned, we hardly see the patients and come in contact with them. But one thing that we definitely do is talk to them a lot over the phone. So this has definitely enhanced and improved my phone etiquette skills. And now I'm not anymore. Before I used to have this fear when I would see the phone or reach out to it, but not anymore. And it definitely has improved my communication skills with the staff at the clinic. I would be intimidated before due to the titles like, oh, I'm speaking with the nurse, I'm speaking with the doctor, a dietitian. But now I see that being a health coach makes me part of their team. And because of that, I'm no longer afraid to speak up for my patient because I realize that my patient is relying on me so that we can help them reach the goals that they need to improve their health. So I am really grateful for the health coach program for making me see the value that I hold, not just for the team, but for my patient. And when it comes to other things that I really owe to the health coach program is the motivational interviewing skills, because this was the first time that I ever learned about this. And it is a struggle, it is a challenge, but as you go throughout the program, you learn to develop and evolve these skills. And so they soon start becoming second nature to you as you start speaking with the patients. Also, the Epic software that we use is also very important. And since I'm trying to do nurse practitioning after this, I realize how essential that will be and how that is going to help me overall in my later future goal. What else? When I'm in the clinic, I try to, because I know that I only go, like, you're only supposed to go once or twice a week, depending how you schedule your shifts. I do my shifts all in one day to ensure that I don't intervene with my school schedule or my work schedule. So I do it all in one shift. I do 8 hours. And every time that I go in there, what I first do is say hi to everybody. I want them to know that I know them. So basically, I learn their name, I ask them how they're doing, and throughout my shift, I'm always asking if they need help with anything, if there's anything that, if there are any patients that they would like me to see or send to me that I can help coach them. And especially at the NDO clinic, because it is a big clinic and we are short staffed right now, they appreciate any help that they can get. So that is something that I am very grateful for the health coach program, because it has enabled me to really be there and connect with my patient. Because of this program, I realized that compassion goes a really long way. And believe it or not, even if it's just through the phone, patients are happy when they hear you asking them, how are you today? How is your diabetes going? How's your goal going so far? And patients tell us things that maybe they're not confident or really comfortable telling their physicians. So when they speak to us, we build a strong relationship where they tell us things that they wouldn't tell like the physicians or their healthcare team. And that to me is very, I appreciate it, because they're trusting me with things that they wouldn't trust somebody else. And because of that, I highly respect my patients, and I would do anything to help them accomplish the goal that they have in mind. Because of that, I do appreciate the health coach program, and I'm willing to advocate for all of my patients just to help them reach this goal that they have. Any advice that I would have for you guys when it comes to the application would be to just be honest and don't sell yourself short. You know, if you volunteered in multiple areas, even if it's the smallest thing, to help somebody, put it on the application, because that's what we like to see, that you're willing to help somebody for their bettering, for their own improvement. So I would recommend doing that. And when it comes to the interviewing, the interviews, don't let your nerves get in the way. I know it's an interview, but again, think of why you're doing this, like the reason why you're doing this, to help other people. And that really goes a long way. And we really do appreciate that. So thank you. Mhm.
Thank you, Claudia. And I've dropped in the chat the workshops I'm hosting for community college students. And so feel free, I'm actually having a workshop later this evening. If you're interested in learning more about some summer programs and how to write your application, giving you some tips and tricks, feel free to join in, register, and then you'll get the Zoom link. But at this time, I'll open up with a few minutes on questions. I'm gonna move over the link here. You can copy down our email. Any last minute questions? You can write it in the chat or unmute yourself. The question is, it doesn't matter what college we decide to go. Yeah, it does not matter. So regardless, whichever program, we are open to anybody. So for FPL, this summer specifically, you do not have to travel anywhere. It's all going to be online. So you could be in the East Coast if you wanted to, but just make sure you make it on time, on the right time for our meetings. But for health coach, because it is a hybrid, you would need to have transportation to the clinic that you're assigned to. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you speak Spanish, I know the health coach program is really looking for Spanish speakers. So I encourage you to apply. So for any medically related goal, yeah, anything related. As you can tell, I think Wajiha, you want to go into medical school, and Claudia wants to do nursing. So anything. There is a Hemet clinic. There's a Lake Elsinore clinic as well. If you go on the HCP website, they has a clinic map location. So there's 15 sites they can choose from. Let's see. Are all the speakers listed in the chats? Oh, our information? No, it's not, but I can, if you want to write it in the chat, if you all are comfortable putting your information, you can put it on there. Yeah, so if you want, you can send me an email and I can send you the information. Let me know what exactly you'd like. yeah. Yes, if you're interested in nursing admin, perfectly fine. Thank you. So for FPL, you can join now. So you just have to be a junior in high school. So you can share it with friends that you know that maybe seniors in high school, share it now, let them know. For health coach, you just have to be going into your junior year. So if you're transferring or if you have a specific situation, reach out to Jackie if you're not sure if you're eligible, and she can tell you a little bit more. But for FPL, I encourage you to apply now, and you can be at any stage. Thank you for being here. And I encourage you to join Hope and STEM, join their programs, be involved. Thank you, Claudia. Yes, good luck to everybody. And feel free to open up that PDF and hopefully you'll join in some of the workshops. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Calhoun, for having me. And you've always been a great supporter of FPL over the summer, so I appreciate it.
Yes, yeah. Let me know if we can have you guys come to my class this summer coming up as well. Thank you so much for coming back. We got better turnout than we did on our first one. We got it recorded this time. So
yeah, this
so
is great. Hopefully I did it justice for health coach.
You did great. It's all great information and great programs. Makes me want to go back to school.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing real quick, but thank you all for coming. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you. And I did share your other workshops with my classes. But if anyone needs that link again or info, reach out to me or reach out to Esmeralda. There's some great programs you guys are putting on. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I've had last week I had the roadmap and we had a great turnout for MSJC. I think over half of them were there. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.